My name is Aman, and today I'm going to talk about one of the cases of Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario. The case is between Swift versus Matrix, where NetSwift is the applicant and Matrix, the publishing company, as the respondent. So, moving on to the introduction, this case application alleges discrimination concerning employment because of disability, contrary to the Human Rights Code. So, moving on to the next slide, issues alleges termination due to disability. Swift alleges that his termination from Matrix with publishing company was primarily or partly due to his disability, particularly his voice impairment resulting from his past battle with throat cancer. So, in evaluation of performance matrix, Swift argues that his performance was unfairly judged as his medical appointments were not considered when assessing his productivity, particularly regarding the number of sales calls made. So, in the next slide, so here are the timeline of the issues. Swift started employment on 26th of January 2013, and on February 12, 2013, meeting regarding performance issues happens, and finally on the very next day, so termination meeting was also held. Here are some facts. The applicant was diagnosed with stage 4 metronome and vocal cord lesions in 2009, necessitating ongoing medical appointments. So another fact is, during the interview of an account manager's or salesperson position, the applicant disclosed that his previous cancer diagnosis and need for occasional medical days off to Brian Davey, the respondent sales manager. So the applicant worked for 2.5 weeks, during which he missed some time due to medical appointments, snow and unrelated illness. So discrepancies arose regarding the number of days worked and missed, as well as the number of sales calls made. So here are some other facts. So conflicting testimonies exist regarding performance discussion. The applicant claims to perform issues were raised initially while Brian Davey asserts that concerns about call counts, sale patch delivery, and preparation were addressed. Expectations included making 80 to 100 calls per day, so daily, with the termination resulting from the applicant's failure to meet these standards, low talk low talk time, and the perceived lack of dedication. So while the applicant voice was initially cited as appealing by Brian Davey, concerns arose about its effectiveness and make sales, alongside issues with low talk time and communication. So the applicant alleges demonstrated resistance to constructive criticism and advice, which may have contributed to performance issues and termination. This termination of the applicant was attributed to lack of performance improvement and bring new ideas despite prior warnings. So disagreement exists between the applicant and the employer. So this resulting in the regarding performance evaluations, reasons of termination, and the role of the applicant's health issues in the decision. So here are some arguments made. So medical history. First one is the medical history. So applicant medical history including cancer diagnosis and treatment impacted his ability to work consistently and attend medical appointments. So second argument is transparency. The applicant disclosure of his health condition during the interview demonstrated transparency and reasonable request for accommodation to Brian Davey, the respondent sales manager. So the third one is discrepancies. Discrepancies is attendance records and sales calls, count raised question about the accuracy performance assessment. Conflicting testimonies regarding performance. The discussion highlight communication issues between the applicant and Brian Davey. So the last one is termination. The termination was primarily based on the applicant failure to meet sales performance expectations, including call volume and talk time, and indicated by Brian Davey. So here are a few more arguments. So employer's decision. Termination was justified based on the applicant's consistent failure to meet performance standards and bring in new leads. So in performance, termination was ultimately a result of performance related concerns rather than discrimination as claimed by Brian Davey. So disagreements between the applicant and the employer regarding performance evaluation and reasons for termination suggest a lack of clarity and communication in the employment relationship. So termination decision was based on the combination of performance related factors rather than solely applicant health issues of voice quality. So here are some findings. So credibility issues, the tribunal encountered credibility issues regarding the applicant and Mr. Davy, but these were not deemed central to final decision. Despite these issues, the tribunal proceeding with the analysis based on essential issues where there was little disagreement. So allegations by the application alleges that his termination was due to his voice and medical issues. Especially he argued that it was discriminatory to the excess of his call count without factoring in the time he took off for medical appointments. So the last but not the least finding, disability and discrimination. Although there was no dispute that the applicant had a disability, tribunal found no evidence to support the claim that his voice was factored in his termination. So findings, discrimination based on the applicant's voice. So the applicant argued discrimination based on the evaluation performance through call count calculations without considering time off for medical appointment. So indirect discrimination, neutral law disproportionately affect protected group and discuss citing legal precedents. So also the tribunal emphasized the need of applicant to prove discriminatory on the balance of probabilities, whether direct or indirect. The tribunal examined evidence suggesting that call counts influence the termination decision without adjustment for time or for medical appointment. So moving on to the next slide. Finding adverse effect discrimination. Termination need not to be solely due to discrimination to violate the code, citing legal precedents. While the applicant disability wasn't the primary reason for termination, it contributed to the decision as evidenced by the call count calculation. Next slide please. Remedy. So applicant sought $35,000 for emotional distress post termination. So counsel argued for higher compensation referencing out of province cases. So divisional court emphasizes the importance of setting damages appropriately. So here's the remedy of the case. Respondents management including Brian Davy and Jessica Potter to complete Ontario Human Rights Commission online training Human Rights 101 written within like 60 days. Written confirmation of completion to be provided to the applicant's counsel. Posting of human rights card in central workplace location within 30 days to promote code compliance. So here are some factors included: lack of consideration of medical leave, absence of medical reports, and performance issues. Applicant prior medical history and short employment duration were also considered. So compensation awarded only for distress directly linked to code infringement. Final compensation set at $5,000. So implications, let's talk about the employer perspective first. So employer should align policies with the Human Rights Code to prevent discrimination claims. They must review performance evaluation criteria to avoid inadvertent discrimination against disabled employees. Accommodation like allowing medical appointment time off should be considered. Training management to the human right principle and vital to preventing discrimination and ensure legal compliance. So now the employees should know their rights under the Human Rights Code and stand up for themselves if they feel discriminated against, especially based on protective characteristics like disability. So they should gather evidence, seek legal advice, and assert their right to fair treatment in the workplace without hesitation. Thank you.